Give us your best one.
My best tip?
A Michigan-born and raised ice princess. Now we're gonna go on to sports. Efforts to combat COVID have paid off. Good morning, Michigan. How are you doing today? Welcome to our first episode. We are going to kick things off by talking about what's going on in Michigan entertainment. Michigan-born and raised ice princess and The Good Place star Kristen Bell is back on our Netflix trending list. That is because The Good Place Season 4 has finally arrived. I myself watched seasons 1 through 3 immediately after watching the first episode way back when, so I am personally ecstatic that season 4 is finally here. And let me tell you, it is amazing. It's just great. I love the show so much. Now, if you haven't seen The Good Place yet, I recommend bugging your significant other to just watch one episode of this new Netflix show that you want to try. Now we are going to move on to our motivation segment, okay? This segment is all about motivating you to be the best you can be, to go after what you want. So we wanted to talk about something that we feel is really relevant right now, and that is remote interviewing. So we wanted to ask local HR rep Bill LeAnnais his point of view on how to ace that remote interview. Bill, is that you? Oh my gosh, hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing today?
How you doing?
Okay, well, we're doing pretty good over here at Good Morning, Michigan.
Good morning, Michigan.
Right? We wanted to talk to you about doing some remote interview tips. As you know, and as I know, you work in HR, so we felt like you would be the best man for this job. So, what should people do when it comes to clothing? Should they dress from the waist up, only from the waist down? What's your perspective?
So you're asking about the business mullet?
I've never heard that word before.
Yeah, well, a lot of people have been, dressing professionally up top and cozies on the bottom.
Business mullet. We're gonna have to hashtag that. Oh my gosh, tell the social media person we gotta hashtag that. Okay.
A lot of us are doing it, honestly. So it's not the biggest thing, but ultimately, it's important with how you feel as well.
Right.
So if you're being interviewed, and you think you can, still feel as professional as you would in a full suit if you're still wearing, your slippers, then
right.
I say go for it. That's going to make you perform better. I know for me, I would probably get in my full get up just to sort of feel like I was bringing my best self forward.
Right.
Ultimately, you run very little risk, though, of anyone finding out. So really, that's just personal preference.
Yeah, I would say I'm the same way of when I feel like I get dressed fully for my day, even though I work remote, I feel like I have a better day. But, right now, I'm only dressed from the waist up, so I'm in a little bit more of a comical mood. So I feel like it's fitting. What do you think is the best way to handle technical difficulties? Maybe doing something before or doing that can best help somebody during a remote interview?
Sure, I have lots of tips here, lots of personal experience from both ends. So first and foremost, and it sounds so cliche perhaps, is to really check your connection. So there are definitely places in your house that are going to have stronger internet connection. I know. I just set up mine a couple days ago, and it's all over the place in my home. So that's the take on yourself to make sure you can firmly say that you have strong internet connection. Maybe it's not the internet connection. Zoom is overloaded. Maybe Skype fails, whatever it might be. So you always want to make sure that you exchange phone numbers at the beginning, or at least that it's on your resume so that the individual can contact you if it goes out. And that really is on the interviewer to do that outreach, but you want to just to make sure that is provided to them. And then just be prepared to bring, an even more emotable self forward so that, when they can't see your face on the other end, they can still hear your enthusiasm. So again, remembering to smile through the phone, in order to nail that interview. Right.
I would think that's definitely something, because in person you can kind of use your hands. I know I do. And when you're online, your smile doesn't, go as far because they really can't see it sometimes. Or maybe they're interviewing you virtually and they're kind of looking around their house, even though, they're on the video chat with you. They might not be looking at you. So you really need to grab their attention. What would you say folks should look for in somebody interviewing them? Like, should they judge the house or the environment that the person has behind them in the video call?
I mean, jokes aside with what, I want to say, find out if someone has good taste very quickly. Someone may be judging me and my futon that I'm currently sitting on. The couch comes later this month. I would say no. Certainly, the pandemic and COVID has forced us all into some unique situations.
Right.
They made their, room that they haven't been able to renovate since the 70s and never thought they'd have to utilize until, the kids get the office and their spouse is working at the dining room table.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I actually didn't even think about it in that perspective. The one thing I will say, though, is that some of these people coming on very large news programs to do, like, interviews and such, they can at least put a white tarp up to, to make it look like they tried. So I would say that
an excuse not to tidy up either.
Right, and tidying up, right. So yeah, that's a good tip, I think, for anyone on both ends, really, is to make sure, the couch pillows are in place, maybe that the dog's in their cage just for a hot second, just so you can do the interview. Maybe the kids are taking a nap.
And practice before, set up your camera and see how you feel. Look, where's a good, angle that hits you. Some people are like, oh my gosh, I'm coming through so dark. Well, it turns out they're facing away from the light.
Right. Are there any other tips you have for us before you go?
Oh my goodness, I could go on and on and on.
Give us your best one.
My best tip, the first one is always come prepared with questions for the interviewers. So really do take extra time to research, obviously, the company, so that you can mold your answers appropriately towards the skills and that they might be looking for, but also think about what's important to you. And then the other one is following up is even more important because they didn't have that in-person connection. All of those, thank you emails and connecting on LinkedIn are more important than ever.
Right.
To give that person oh my gosh, yeah, because the second I was done with the interview, instead of pushing them along to, my recruiter to say yes, bring them in for the next interview, I went off and did my dishes. So I'm glad you're going to be on LinkedIn because now I'll remember to go back and fill out my evaluation.
Right. You almost want to be like a notification, right? Just like when you get a notification about a social network, a like, you get excited, all this other stuff, and they want to maybe see a LinkedIn notification or just to catch their attention. You really are just trying to catch their attention and make sure that they see you.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your great insight, Bill. I love having you on Good Morning Michigan. I'm sure the people of Michigan also appreciate you for these wonderful remote working tips. And I know you got to hop off, so we're going to see you soon, though.
All right, sounds great. Yeah,
okay.
Come back and good morning, Michigan. Stay safe and wear your mask.
Mask up, Michigan. Now we're going to go on to sports. Anyways, let's go into our final segment, and that is going to be Michigan news. It looks like our efforts to combat COVID have paid off. Our restrictions are being loosened, and what that means is that movie theaters on October 9th are going to be opening up in addition to bowling alleys. I'm very excited, especially about the movie theaters. But Michiganders can of course expect to be wearing masks in these facilities when they're going in and when they're kind of about, just like with our other establishments that have already been open. And on top of that, other restrictions are being more relaxed, which we will comment below a link to see the full list of things that are going on so you can be most aware, especially when it comes to people having small gatherings in certain buildings. There are still some restrictions on that, but they have definitely been more relaxed, quote unquote. So that is our show today for Good Morning Michigan. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.